Well, bad news. I recorded a bunch of videos on this truck and I was going to upload them and they weren't there. They apparently, I don't know, I was having issues with my computer and I had a buddy come over and help me kind of clear it up a little bit, delete some stuff and change some stuff around on the hard drives and whatnot. And well, I noticed when I actually got the computer all fixed, I noticed that I was missing some videos from when I put the red truck together, which, I mean, it's not a bad thing, but it kind of sucks because that's more videos I could have posted. But, I mean, a lot of it was simple stuff. It's just bolting up the mounts and putting the engine in, making the power steering lines, fuel lines, making some stuff work from the factory, from when it was a factory truck. I used like, well, here it is. I mean, I'll do like a quick rundown on it, but I was able to use the factory fan shroud, which is freaking awesome, and then the factory LS clutch fan. So that was pretty cool. So the power steering line is also freaking awesome. I mean, it bolted right up, no heavy modifications. I like how a lot of the factory LS truck stuff works so well with the old truck stuff, was what I'm trying to say. The exhaust headers worked pretty good. I was able to find this in my scrap bin. I just need to get a filter for that. And then I also got, wherever it's at right here, it's able to go on there like that. And it looked pretty stockish, I guess. Stock, somewhat, which is cool. So I also, oh yeah, that's another thing that I wanted to mention. I should have recorded it. I just got done with it, and after I was done, I was like, oh shit, I should have recorded that. But my mistake. Shit happens. Like I said, I'm not yet comfortable with doing all the video and stuff. So the shift linkage. Let me see if I can put that. So what I was able to do was make the shift linkage. So this right here, that is the stock for the truck, this rod. I had to bend it straight a little bit and then put a little bend right here. And then I got this Heim joint from Menards, and then the bolts obviously, and then this rod from Menards as well. It's through rod. I want to say it is a 1/2 inch, 3-foot rod. And so what I did was I cut the little nipple off the factory rod, or off the factory bracket here for the 480, bolted in this Heim joint, and then welded it to the factory rod. And now the steering column shifter works wonderful for it. And then, so I guess I'm pretty much doing like a little recap of the truck since I didn't get any videos of it. So trying to think what else I did. Oh, and I put a tranny cooler in the front. I mean, I prefer them in the back. It's less heat in the back, but I mean, it ain't a drag car or anything, so, but, oh yeah. Pan fits perfect. $300 pan online. Starter. All the wiring from the factory truck bolted right up to it. And then that purple wire right there is from the ignition. So the ignition works. And then I did the exhaust. on it. Couple SLP mufflers on it. And then custom drive shaft from Inland. Inland Truck Parts did that. So the mufflers are a little offset. The reason for that is because he wants to put the exhaust out the box. So what I did was I made it to where we're gonna dump it for now. He wants to wait until the bodywork's done, and then we're gonna put like a little nice beauty ring on it for the pipes to stick out. But yeah, like I said, I offset it a little bit because the 90s. So a 90 comes through here, and then the 90 wraps around the other side, and then it's gonna go right through there. So, yep, and then a little back bracketry for the hangers. And then I also use the factory cross member, and just, it used to sit right here and here. Well, it moved back about a foot for the 4L80, which is great. I like how everything works so well on this thing. And then nice TIG job on the exhaust. And I also like the V-bands. I put those in, V-bands. But yeah, that's a little recap for the truck. I'm sorry that I didn't get any good raw footage of that. But like I said, it was pretty basic. I mean, there wasn't nothing too crazy to watch. I mean, I pretty much showed you all the big custom stuff on it, which is really nothing, really. Big custom stuff done to the truck. I also forgot to mention that, another thing that I forgot, which really sucks, is I caught it on, I recorded it too, and well, here is a motor that came with the truck. He dropped the truck off, and he dropped off this motor with it, and he wanted me obviously to put it in. He supplied the truck, he supplied the motor, and then he supplied the transmission. Well, what was crappy is when I was getting ready to put all the aftermarket parts on this thing, like the pan and the cam and the springs, whatnot. So I turned the motor over, took the pan off, and it was missing half the rod, which is funny because this motor looked like it had freaking 100 miles on it. It was so clean. Like even like the paint is all perfect, and it's not very rusty either. And I mean, you probably can't see it on camera, but there's not a lot of carbon buildup on it. So this motor ran pretty good up until the rod let go. That's shitty. Like, look at how clean the head is. That's the original head. I had to pop off a couple of rockers for a vehicle we'd had to work on. But yeah, missing a rod. Chucked a rod. That's funny. That's not mean it's not funny. It's kind of shitty. I hit him up and I told him, I was like, hey, yeah, you know that motor you gave me with the truck? Well, it's missing half the rod. He wasn't too happy with that. I mean, I don't blame him. You trust somebody for their word and they tell you it's good. And on top of that, it was his buddy that sold him the motor. I mean, I don't know. I haven't talked to him much about the whole ordeal, but I'm pretty sure he said that his buddy's going to help him out, I guess, which is good. But you can't really, I mean, the motors are great. They hold a lot of power, but once in a while you'll come across a bad egg. And that was one of them. Which actually, since we're on the same topic of broken factory parts, here is another issue. We had another vehicle in here, a Camaro, and it was misfiring real bad. I pulled it in the shop. It was kind of struggling, but I figured it was the tune. And I left that one to Jim to mess with. And like I said, another thing with the dyno, rolled the vehicle on the dyno. It had a misfire. I mean, maybe we're going to get it all cleared up. Maybe it was in the tune. Noticed that it wasn't in the tune, and Jim took the valve covers off and came across this little issue right here. The push rod went right through the freaking rocker. And this is actually has Trinium. It has a Trinium upgrade on it. But we put two factory rockers on the Camaro and tuned it. I think we got as far, we didn't get very far. I think we tuned it at like high 4s, low 5s, but we had to stop because it was I would have to ask, but maybe it might have ran out of fuel, or maybe it kept popping up with a couple other issues. But I mean, I don't want to knock the owner down or anything, but I mean, shit happens. I mean, he brought it to me with a couple issues that needed sorted, fixed them, and then it was ready for the dyno, threw it on the dyno, and then, like I said, it had those issues with the rockers. So, life of owning a dyno, I guess. But back to the V. So got the injectors back cleaned, and my injector guy, he has a nice rig set up for cleaning injectors and whatnot, but come to find out that the injectors are firing like they should, which is, I mean, it's a good thing, but at the same time it was kind of shitty because it's leaning more towards internal now. So I think I'm gonna wait for Dan to get here because I'll have him hold the camera. But so we're gonna do a compression test, go from there. I mean, if compression's good, then might have to do a leak down and then go from there. But I mean, I put the motor in, I put the heads on, and I mean, I looked at everything when I put everything together, and everything was fine. I mean, I had to put the oil pan on it. Nothing was broken or big parts missing off the whatever, like parts in the oil pan. It looked pretty clean. So this, I'm kind of confused on what the fuck happened, but I don't know. So I guess I'll leave you guys at that. I'll post a video of us putting the V together, getting it ready. Get it ready on the dyno, for the dyno, so we can do some pulls, get it all tuned up. But, oh, another thing. The reason why I said behind the scenes of owning a dyno is because it happens a lot that when you're owning a dyno and you're doing work for people, like for instance this V, well, I mean, I put the engine in obviously, but say if anyone, they brought me, said a perfectly good running vehicle, and we go to put it on the dyno, which that's what we did with this. I mean, to my knowledge, it was ready to go. Maybe it got worse over time, but when I first got it running, it sounded pretty good. So I don't know, maybe something I think something might have came loose. Maybe the spark ain't firing correctly, whatever. But anyways, so what I was saying is, you bring me a perfectly good running vehicle, put it on the dyno, and we start doing the warm-up tunes and the idle tunes, getting all the maps all perfect, and then say like for instance, Jim found that it was missing on a couple cylinders, and so we stopped right there. He hit me up, we came down, me and Dan tore it apart. So what I'm saying is, thinking we're gonna do some tuning and some dynoing time on the vehicle, but have to stop what we're doing to work on it. That's just the name of the game of dyno tuning, I guess. It's just shit happens. You gotta stop right then and there, fix the issue, and then get her back on the rollers there. But like I said, hopefully it's nothing too crazy, I hope. But alrighty, see ya.